Ooh, ooh, Kon-Juwun, Kon-Juwun, FlaVR's prettiest, juiciest, and manliest femboy VTuber, June Sugarbloom at your service, and welcome to Femboy Raw Review. At the time of recording, we will be reviewing last week's, or the September 23rd episode of Monday Night Raw. I know, I am late once again, but that's what you're supposed to expect from this YouTube channel. I am always 1 week late, but you know what they say, better late than never. So let's get into it. First of all, I would like to try to keep things short. Last episode, I rambled for close to an hour. So we're gonna try to keep this under 30 minutes this time. So in order to do that, I will be changing things up a bit. I won't try to go into the details about how the matches went, describing the moves and all of that stuff. If you were there, if you saw it, you know what it was. So I'll just try to bring out the highlights and stuff like that. Also, we will no longer be rating the segments. The thing about the segments are that some of them are very short, especially in this week's review. Some of them are like 1-2 minutes. They don't mean much, and they usually build up to the fight, so we will just take that into consideration when rating the match. So we're only rating matches, we're not rating the segments. With that in mind, let's go. So this episode starts out pretty strong. There's a carryover from the previous episode. My favorite match in the previous episode was the match between Braun Strowman and the globe-shaped intimidator, Big Bronson Reed. And that match spills over into the intro of this episode. So Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio ride into the arena in their lowrider. They walk into the arena, and then Big Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman suddenly crash in and start fighting each other. So this is one of the feuds that I'm really interested in. I really like seeing them big, monstrous people fighting each other, which is what wrestling's all about. So I look forward into their eventual match, which is supposed to be this week on Monday Night Raw. I look forward to reviewing that episode. But continuing. So Liv and Dom walk into stage and cut their generic Judgment Day versus Terror Twins promo. It's very predictable, and as predicted, Rhea Ripley walks in. However, what I did not see coming was what Rhea Ripley was gonna announce. So apparently, for the Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan match at the upcoming Bad Blood Premium Live event, Dominic Mysterio is gonna be hanging from a shark cage for the entirety of the match. This is pretty ironic, because how Liv Morgan won the heavyweight women's championship was in a steel cage match with Becky Lynch, and I believe the steel cage was supposed to keep any shenanigans from entering the ring, but Dominic Mysterio somehow managed to weasel himself in and inadvertently cost Becky Lynch the championship. So Liv Morgan became champion that way. And now, in order to prevent Dominic from doing his usual Judgment Day shenanigans, he'll be hanging from a shark cage. However, my favorite part in this whole segment was Wade Barrett's reaction to the whole thing. From the moment Dominic and Liv entered the stadium, Wade Barrett was fawning over Dominic Mysterio. And I love Wade Barrett, and I usually agree with his takes, but I have to disagree with him on this. He is fawning over Dominic Mysterio left and right. In his words, Dominic has some kind of raw sexual magnetism, which doesn't make any sense. He looks like a mess. And I agree 100% with his co-host, Joe, when he says Dominic, what did he say? He called Dominic a style mishap of regrettable clothing decisions, and he looks like a mess. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see what Liv Morgan, I don't see what Wade Barrett sees in Dom, but yeah. I really don't understand. I really don't see what Wade sees in Dominik Mysterio. He's there sticking his tongue out, pointing at his face, making faces and stuff. He looks very childish. He's even more childish now that he's with Liv instead of Rhea. And that is good storytelling, I suppose. So Wade Barrett, after finding out the news that Dominik Mysterio is going to be hanging from a cage, he is completely broken. He is devastated. He is depressed. And his facial expressions are just perfect. He throws the pen here and there. He shakes his head. He is visibly upset that Dominik Mysterio is going to be hanging from a cage. And that was my favorite part of this segment. So the first match this episode is the match between Sami Zayn and 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈. And I predicted this last episode. Sami Zayn is supposed to go through 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈 in order to get to Gunther. Last week, I said that I didn't like Sami Zayn very much, but seeing the intro, seeing the ring entrances, I have to say Sami Zayn looks way bigger than 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈. And you know, I like big guys. And while I'm not rooting for Sami Zayn in this match, he's looking a little better, at least in my eyes, than he did walking into stage like a homeless person. 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈, like I said last week, just has that perfect heelish face. And he plays his role very well. He walks into stage, acts like a heel, gets everyone to boo him. And throughout the match, he's doing very heelish stuff. He's even to pull out his signature running dropkick, running basement dropkick or whatever. He gets this off, and Sami Zayn looks like he's out for the count. But as I predicted, Sami Zayn wins. He gets one over 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈, goes to a German suplex, sets him up in the corner, and does his Helluva Kick. The best part of this Helluva Kick, though, is 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈's reaction to the Helluva Kick. He recovers from the German suplex, sees Sami Zayn running to him, and he puts his hand forward like, stop, stop, stop. He does it very well. 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈 is a very good actor. Now, after Sami Zayn pins 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈, Gunther's music hits and Gunther storms in. And he's very pissed. He's very angry. He's shouting at Sami Zayn. And he's beating everyone. It looks like he's finally gonna accept Sami Zayn's challenge. And he's beating everyone. He's ranting. He's emotional. He's angry. And I've said this before. Gunther is quite the comedian. He sets everyone up into believing he's finally gonna accept Sami Zayn. But then he says no. Just like that. And he starts laughing and he starts smiling. Wade bursts out in laughter, and I too was laughing in my seat. I have German relatives. Don't ask how I have German relatives, but the stereotype is kind of true. They're kind of flat and scary, just like Gunther. Which is why, you know, there's that 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈. Gunther just has that 𝒹𝓃𝓉𝓈. He's a very stern-looking, strict-looking individual, but he's actually got perfect comedic timing. And I really like that about him. So if we were to rate this match, with everything going on, especially the Gunther segment, the fight was pretty good. It was a technical fight. Both of them did pretty well. Both of them were able to execute their signature moves. So I would give this fight 7 bananas. 7 out of 10. Good match, good match. However, one gripe of mine for this whole thing is that I kind of wish Ludwig was given the opportunity to rebel against Gunther, but I know that WWE is really going for long storytelling, so maybe this was a setup for the future, how Ludwig will realize that he actually has a chance at beating Gunther. It would have been nice if Ludwig beat Sami Zayn and gained the confidence to stand up against Gunther. You know, Sami Zayn beat Gunther before, so if Ludwig beat Sami Zayn, can Ludwig beat Gunther? I think that would be very interesting. Maybe in the future, who knows? But for now, I think he's better off as a heel. Something that I noticed, which will be like a recurring theme in this entire episode, is something about like redemption. Sami Zayn has been in the company for a bit, and it's only finally receiving the recognition he deserves now. And I see this a recurring theme throughout this episode. Is Sami Zayn actually gonna beat Gunther? I think there's a possibility that Triple H might make him beat Gunther. I don't want this to happen, but that just builds up the tension, makes the feud more interesting. After this match, we get a New Day segment, and the New Day match versus the Judgment Day last episode was one of the more interesting matches for me. I can't remember what I gave it. It was up there, probably an 8 or something like that. It was a good match, good storytelling, and they continue the storytelling here. Xavier Woods is sulking there in the corner, and Kofi comes to comfort him, to cheer him up. And it seems like they're buddies for now, but not exactly where it used to be. In order to make him happy, Kofi gives him the opportunity to take the lead. Apparently now he's gonna be calling the shots, and we'll see how that goes. American Maid comes in and starts berating them. It's apparent that they're gonna be fighting this episode. When I was talking about not rating segments in the intro of this video, it was this segment that made me realize how pointless it was to rate segments, because there was a segment where Sheamus is ranting against Pete Dunne. He's getting the crowd angry at Pete Dunne, calling him Butch, calling him Butch, calling him Butch. And that is it. Later on in this episode too, Pete Dunne storms in and beats Sheamus up with a cricket bat. And that was the segment, that was it there. Not too interesting, not too hype. I'm not too hyped about this feud, but it's there, it exists, whatever. The second match in this episode is a match between The Miz versus Big Bronson Reed, the globe-shaped Intimidator. However, the match never starts. Just like last week, before the bell could ever ring, Braun Strowman jumps in and surprises Big Bronson Reed, and they start fighting, they start killing each other, and they're going crazy. Everyone's on edge. Security's called almost immediately because these two giants are killing each other. They then start killing the security. At one point, Big Bronson Reed put 2 security personnel on top of each other, and he tsunamis both of them. This is like a globe-shaped Intimidator sandwich. He pancakes the 2 of them. Braun Strowman tries to climb up the ring too, and the crowd is cheering, let them fight, let them fight, let them fight. Braun Strowman climbs up to the turnbuckle and he's about to jump into Big Bronson Reed, but all the security guards swarm them and they separate them from each other. Adam Pearce later on says they're gonna finish this next week or this week. They're gonna finish it this week. A monster versus monster, last monster standing match. So The Miz versus the Big Bronson Reed never happens. They don't fight each other. Still, I found this very fun to watch. Anything with these 2 giant people and them beating each other up. It's fun to watch. But nothing much happens. The security guards, although they get killed, thrown left and right, they're able to prevent the 2 giants from fighting each other. So yeah, 7 out of 10. 7 bananas for the 2 big boys. Following that match, we get a tag team match versus Damage Control and the Unholy Union. In last week's episode, I said that the match between Bianca Belair and Io Sky, that was one of the best women's matches I've ever witnessed, and the announcers also agree. They're talking about how everyone was really hyped about that match and really hyped about Io Sky going in this match. And something I found very interesting here is that there were things in this match that mirrored the match between Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union. There were several occasions in this match where both Kairi Sane and Io Sky were able to solo the duo of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Io Sky obviously having the more showy moves, more showy events, more showy occasions. So the match was, it was okay. It was there. It exists. I watched the whole thing. Didn't make me feel sleepy or whatever. It was exciting. It was great. Io Sky was able to handle both 𝒦𝓊𝓈 and 𝒹𝓊𝓉𝓈 at some point, delivering a double dropkick to both their faces. And fortunately, the finisher of this match was Kairi Sane dealing with 𝒹𝓊𝓉𝓈 at ringside and Io Sky doing over the moonsault into 𝒦𝓊𝓈, I believe, inside the ring. However, I see Kairi Sane missing. The cameramen are pretty good at preventing botches from getting caught on TV, but it looks like Kairi Sane misses the insane elbow. At least that's what it seemed to me. Maybe because she's blinded, she still has that injury, the band-aid over her eye, so maybe it could be related to that. But I feel it looks like she missed. Io Sky, though, being the queen of the sky, hits 𝒦𝓊𝓈, wins the match. However, it is not as exciting, not as memorable as the Bianca Belair match. That is one to top. That will be hard to top. So I give this match 6 bananas. 6 bananas for the ladies tag team match. That's fair. If you disagree with me, let me know. Do your thing. As you guys know, my favorite superstar in the current roster of WWE is Drew McIntyre. And he comes in and cuts this promo for his match with CM Punk at Bad Blood. The crowds being the marks that they are. I too have a mark, but I'm a better mark than them. They keep on cheering for CM Punk. They cheer CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre cuts his promo. One thing that I like about this promo is that Drew McIntyre emphasizes that this is a match between good and evil. And in the previous episode, CM Punk says that he could be the devil and he is going to listen to the devil on his shoulder and stuff like that. That is how I see this. In this match, CM Punk is the devil and Drew McIntyre. I remember there was one promo before where Drew McIntyre prayed that CM Punk would be injured or something like that. So not a perfect angel, Drew McIntyre, but he's still doing God's work, in my opinion. CM Punk, only here for the money, but people love him. I don't know why. I don't like CM Punk. It is very clear, it is very obvious that I'm in the minority, or at least in the WWE universe. You guys don't like CM Punk, right? You guys agree with me. CM Punk is a punk. And Drew McIntyre is a hunk, and he should win this. But like I said, I am worried because the crowd loves CM Punk. They will make CM Punk win. CM Punk is quote-unquote the babyface in this situation, I think. But for me, he's not being a babyface at all. He's being the bad guy. And Drew McIntyre should defeat him, in my opinion. Either way, CM Punk will be broken. I know this for sure. So I look forward to that match. CM Punk is going to get broken in that ring. Whether or not he wins, whether or not he loses, he will be a broken man. And that puts a smile on my heart. I'm a very evil person, I know. So we get the New Day versus American Made match. And I think it was a good match. There's always room for improvement, you know. You can't always put out the perfect match, but this is a good match. Xavier Woods is now supposedly the leader of the New Day, calling out the shots. And he does. You can see him pointing. You can see him telling Kofi to do this, Kofi to do that. And Kofi listens to him. And for the finisher of this match, Xavier Woods tells Kofi to get rid of one of the Creed brothers who is at ringside in order for him to finish the match with, I can't believe who was it. It must have been Julius Creed. I believe it was Julius Creed inside the ring. And Xavier Woods was going to finish him off. But just before he could finish, Mr. Chad Gable distracts Xavier Woods. And Xavier Woods goes crazy. He loses his mind. He goes wild. He's very angry. And he tries to beat Mr. Chad Gable. But because he's distracted by Chad Gable, he gets blindsided, and then Brutus Bold. Apparently Brutus Bold is a thing, and it's a very, 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 very stunning move. Julius Creed just utes Brutus Creed as he curls himself up like a ball. Have I said I love American Made? American Made is a very fun stable. Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, the Creed brothers, they're a very strong team, and their moves are very showy. They're powerhousey, but they're still both very athletic. So this Brutus Ball was like the most amazing move in the whole fight. A few things that stick out and are memorable in this match is when Xavier Wood hulks out. He starts becoming impervious to damage. I believe it is Brutus Creed trying to beat him up. Then all of a sudden, Xavier Wood starts hulking out and the chops don't do anything. And then he beats up Brutus. There was also a part where both teams superplex each other. I can't remember who did what, but Xavier Woods was the one from the New Day who superplexed someone else, and someone from the Creed brothers superplexes Kofi. Overall, it was a good match. It could have done better storytelling. Xavier Woods is supposed to be calling his shots. What if instead of calling the shot and not following through like what he did here, he told Kofi, "You deal with Brutus, I'll deal with Julius." But instead of getting to Julius, he gets to Chad Gable instead. Instead of all of that, what if he makes a bad call? What if Woods makes a bad call instead? I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer for the WWE. I feel like something is lacking though. Like, I like Xavier Woods. I like this match. I will give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 bananas for this match. That's a good rating. If you remember what I said at the start of this video, I did say that this episode feels like redemption. Redemption for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn being a guy in the roster for a long time, finally getting the credit he deserves. Pete Dunne also getting some action here. Pete Dunne, he's been in the WWE for quite a long while, being a jobber, but now he is beating Sheamus. This theme of redemption culminates in the main event of this evening between Bron Breakker and Jey Uso. I feel like a lot of people saw this coming. It is California, home state of Jey Uso. So there is a very high chance that Jey Uso is gonna win this. And seeing that it's been a week after this episode aired, I don't think I'm spoiling anyone by saying that Jey Uso does win this. Jey Uso has been in the WWE for a long time. And they're really building up this during the promos. Jey Uso being here 14 years, Bron Breakker being a new guy, Bron Breakker getting gold before Jey Uso. So Jey Uso beats him. And there's a lot of storytelling in this match because Jey Uso does exactly what he did to Bron Breakker in their segment last week. Bron Breakker charges up his spear, but Jey Uso counters the spear with his own spear, and then goes to the Uso splash and pins Bron Breakker. So Jey Uso wins. Everyone is yeeting, everyone is happy, everything, all's well that ends well. However, I am a little peeved that Bron Breakker lost this one. I felt like Bron Breakker was set up as a Bill Goldberg type of character. He was just plowing through everyone. He was destroying people left and right. Like he killed this random guy. I can't remember which episode of Raw. Was it it wasn't Bron Breakker's debut or whatever. But they called in this random wrestler to fight Bron Breakker, and Bron Breakker immediately spears him and he dies. Bron Breakker spears Ricochet, and Ricochet disappears from WWE. He's like a Bill Goldberg type character, demolishing everyone until Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Sami Zayn, Jey Uso being veterans of the WWE, both of them are finally getting their push. I just hope that this doesn't kill the momentum of Bron Breakker. I like Bron Breakker. He has like the perfect wrestler physique, big guy, big muscles, very powerful moves, and very athletic moves too. So I just hope that this doesn't really kill his momentum. I like that Triple H is finally giving veterans a chance to succeed in or gain gold in the WWE. But I don't like that Bron Breakker is losing. I was just hoping that he would have the icy belt on him a little longer. I know the icy belt doesn't really last that long on people, but ever since Gunther had that 666-day reign with the icy belt, some other wrestlers deserve to hold the belt longer. I don't know. I give this match an 8 out of 10. Wait, no. 7. 7 out of 10. Just because Braun Breaker didn't win. I know, it's arbitrary. It's my scoring system. I don't know. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? That's fine. Let me know in the comments below. So overall, this episode, I feel like last week's episode was so much better than this one. A lot of forgettable stuff here. The segments in the background, the Kairi Sane botch and stuff. It's not as good as it was last week, so I will give this week a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 bananas is a good rating. It's not the worst, and who really cares about my opinion? Who cares how many bananas I throw at people? This is subjective, okay? If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. But that is it for this week's episode of Femboy Raw Review. I will see you when I see you. I do live stream, so if you wanna catch a live stream, you know, turn on the notifications, press all the dibbly-doos, the buttony buttons, and the subscribery belly bells. But that is it. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you stuck around. If you're here, wait, if you're here, give me an ooh. If you're still here, give me an ooh. But that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for sticking around. 𝒥𝓊𝓉𝓈, matane.